To bend another person's energy, your own spirit has to be unbendable.
This is Ori!
Your mind has to be so strong to where you mentally won't break. MMA has no mercy to anybody, and it will crack you open and feast on the goo that's inside. It leaves no room for error, and it leaves no room for you to hide. So you really have to be mentally strong to go into that cage. You have everything that you need. You have your tools in your toolbox. They've been sharpened. And at the end of the day, you need to go in there into the cage knowing that your hand is going to be raised at the end of it. I was doing my pause dance.
I do the other side.
Moms feel so hopeless that their kids are diagnosed with autism, and I'm trying to be like, it's not necessarily a game over. And I'm trying to be that example so both the children and the parents can see that there's hope. They can be something. They can be whoever they want to be. They just got to have their moment to shine. They got to have the tools. And if I can help be that person and kind of push that along, then you know what? I can sleep better at night.
The Southpaw Outlaw, Serena De Jesus.
When I don't get enough sleep, and I feel what I feel like in the morning and what my body feels like, and it disrupts my whole vibe, my whole day. So like, I make sure that I definitely dedicate and prioritize my sleep. When you wake up naturally, like, you feel rested. A lot of times if your alarm is waking you up in the middle of a deep sleep, and that's what makes it hard, that struggle of getting out of the bed sometimes. So learning your schedule of what time do I need to go to bed so that I can possibly wake up naturally at the time that I need to, so that when I wake up, I feel rested and ready to go.
I sit down and think about my goals, but what's on my radar right now, I did the fighting thing. I might not, be completely done with that. I am missing fighting. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna try to figure out how to work that in my training schedule somehow. But I want to do the bodybuilding thing. I want to go, and I don't want to just do it just to do it. Like, I want to do well, apply myself, but not put a timeline on anything either. Not put pressure on it. I would like to go pro in bodybuilding, get some cool trophies out of it. What I thought was a bad thing is, as far as being like jack of all trades, master of none, I'm actually realizing is a blessing, because I get so much diversity of culture and experience. I work my ass off. Like, I'm gonna be undeniable. I can count on literally one hand the number of classes I missed in the first year of me doing jiu-jitsu. I went to class every single night. I paid for privates 4 times a week. Like, I was on my shit. And like I said, like, really kind of had that chip on my shoulder, but more so just wanting to prove, like, I am more than a pretty face. You're not gonna dismiss me and who I am and what I have because of how I look. I don't want to just do it. I want to do it spectacularly. So I know, like, to really do something on a great high level, like, you have to really devote yourself to it. And sure, I could do both, if I want to half-ass my bodybuilding show, I could totally be doing training on inclines and hill type work for mountains. But yeah, I want to have it last and really get the full effect and experience out of it.
I think like everybody have like a yin and yang within them. The nursing is kind of, I don't know what, like a yang. Whatever is a nice, like quiet, relaxing type. And then like getting into the cage and fighting and being able to apply your martial arts, it's very freeing and a kind of thing that you can't get in your general regular day, everyday life, unless you're doing like some extreme like sports or something. Fighting in general impacted like my everyday life. Like, I train at a kind of traditional school where everything is about like honor, principle and integrity, all that stuff. So I kind of use those same principles in my everyday life. Just like being a fighter, like it's helped me. It helped me so much. Where like if there's a problem, I could kind of like have that patience. I don't know. It teaches you patience. It teaches you like discipline, things like that. That's kind of like where fighting has helped me. Went to like a jiu-jitsu class or like striking class. Jiu-jitsu looked very scary. It looked very intimate, and I was not having anything like that. So that's why striking is like the first thing that I did. I was probably doing like striking, like Muay Thai and stuff, like for the first like 2 months, and then they started having like women do like a women's jiu-jitsu class, and I tried it because it looked a little less intimidating. And from there, you know, I loved it. And after that, you know, you don't really care, man, woman. It's fine. I kind of fell in love with jiu-jitsu too. Like, I fell in love with it all.
It's a lifestyle in the sense that, like, especially with fighting, if you're like cutting weight and stuff, you can never really like completely detach from it. Like, I know even when I was going to school, you can go to school and then you leave and it's like you kind of like completely like detach from it. But fighting, it kind of follows you and all. That's why you really have to love it and be passionate about it, because it does follow you kind of in every aspect of your life. Like, you have to miss, like if you have a fight coming up, you have to miss out on certain things to get your training sessions in, or not be able to eat certain things because you need to make weight. So it definitely impacts every aspect of your life. But it's also something that I feel like I'm like fulfilling dreams I had as a kid. So it's so worth it. In the cage, I'm definitely a very like focused fighter, very technical. I really like, I think that's something I hold in high regards just in my training and everything too, even especially because I'm not like the biggest for my weight class. So I think being technical is something I always really focus on. And then I think that even carries on me without like outside the cage. I think I'm a pretty focused person in general, and I know how to work hard, but I feel like especially the older I've gotten, I've kind of found like a balance of being able to like enjoy my life and also be like a hard worker.
Perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence.
I feel like in fighting, and I get in any sport really, or anything that you're passionate about in life, like you're always trying to be perfect. You're always trying to, at least for me, I feel like I want to learn every technique the perfect way, try to get every little detail of it. And when I'm drilling it, I'm trying to make sure I drill it perfect. But obviously when you're going live and you're going against someone else who's like super skilled, it's not going to be completely perfect, but if you can drill it and train it perfect, at least you could do it as close to perfect as possible when you are doing it live. You can do it, like, I guess, excellent.
Mind is weak, your body's weak. Gymnastics is very scary, and it's weird because it becomes scary in waves. It's like you're doing these skills that you can break your neck on, and you don't even think about it, and then the next day you wake up and you're like, I could break my neck, and then you get really scared. And so I had a gymnast who was really, really struggling with fear, and I was telling her, I was like, fear is really just an opportunity to be courageous, because without fear, there's no bravery, there's no courage, you know? Yeah. And so now she always tells me, it's just a new opportunity for me to be brave today. Raw honesty in fighting that you don't get to experience in any other sport. You're standing there in a cage looking at someone who's prepared for you for 4, 6, 12 weeks, and they know your weaknesses, they know your strengths, and you know theirs, and you're about to either get exposed or expose somebody. So it's like you have to look at yourself in a totally different way. The way that you have to really look inside and see not only physically but mentally what you're made of, what you're capable of, it's kind of scary.
We are more than conquerors through him who loves us. Tell me a little bit about what this quote means to you.
It's really important to me because of the contrast. We're more than conquerors through him who loves us. I've never gotten in a cage for a fight and been like, I really want to hurt them. Like I want them to die. And it's a sport. It's a fun sport. It's a brutal sport, and I love that aspect of it as well. But I don't know. I just feel like the quote. That scripture really defines the way that I feel about the sport. The brutal of the idea of the word conquer, that's just such a brutal word, and then the contrast of through love.
The only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not taking risks.
If you don't take any risks, you're definitely already failing, and it's so easy to not take risks because we feel like we're being responsible, It's like when I quit my job to do MMA, it would be easy for me to stay there because it was comfortable, but I wasn't happy. I just felt like there was something more. There was something more that I could do besides just finding a way of being financially independent, which is what most people focus on most of their life. And even people who are already there, they're not necessarily happy. And you see those stories every day. So if it's not money and if it's not security, then what is it? What is happiness? We all struggle. But don't let that struggle be the reason why you fall short. And then don't walk in that cage unprepared because you feel like your excuses are valid. Because excuses, sometimes they are valid. But if you are going to make that walk, you own it to yourself and to the fans and everybody that believes in you to do everything that you can to be the best that you can possibly be that night. You can't just show up there like already defeated because you think your circumstances are holding you back and you feel like you have good reasons to suck. Do not fucking suck today. What I love the most about the sport, when I walk into the cage, I'm not just thinking about I'm going in there to beat somebody up. To me, it's a spiritual experience. This is the one space in time where you cannot lie to yourself. You can pretend whatever you want in the gym. You can, skip round. You can pick the easy round. You can take breaks when nobody is watching. But when you're out there, like it's all on you, all eyes on you. And if you have a bad day in the office, you're doing it in front of the world.
Injuries and stuff, I always that does cross my mind, Lisa, you have one body and this could happen to you. And then when you live older, these are the things that you're going to deal with. And I'm like, fuck it. You live one time. You live one time. I'm so passionate about it and I love it. And I think it's honestly worth it. And people put so much, my coaches and teammates put so much time into me. How can I let that let it go and express how much they mean to me? My team coaches, the dynamic and everything has changed in the gym, so everybody is freaking awesome. They're there for each other and we're pushing each other. If I'm messing up on something, they're there to be to critique me, and I appreciate that a lot. Because I don't have eyes in the back of my head. I don't know what I'm doing sometimes. If I'm doing something wrong, they're just hey, no, you need to do a 5-0 grip instead of just doing some other dumb thing. I don't want to go living my life and just, man, I wish I should have or I could have done this when I had the opportunity to. So I don't want to go living the rest of my life regretting that I didn't take these opportunities.
As soon as you start competing, even in the amateurs, and you're not even paid for that shit, you have to give yourself 100%. You have to be in training every day. But the difference is that, man, you have to do it on the side of your life, your work life. It's horrible. In the end, I have to put the same effort in it. So why not to just do that and do it 200%? We're not gonna lie, I think if it's not because we do that because we love it, there's more shitty things than good things. It's a lot of sacrifices. In the end, sometimes you're like, why the fuck do I do that? When you win, at least you feel like, man, I've done that for something. But when you get robbed, are you losing? I mean, at least if you lose because you lose, you really lose. Okay, but when you get a fucking robbery and you lose the half of your paycheck that you really need to pay your freaking rent, and that you've been grinding day and night because you need to make it happen and make sure that you can still pay your food and your bills and your rent on the side, that you have to train every single day and diet. Everything is about balance. As soon as something you feel it in your gut that it's wrong, that something's wrong, is that you're not doing it the right way, or you need to change something about the way it's set around you. Maybe sometimes it's changing your team, maybe sometimes it's changing the way, your eating habits, or, but obviously, if you want to keep it healthy, you need to make sure that you're doing something that is never putting you through frustration in any ways, or that you can make sure you can maintain for years.
You could be physically the best shape of your life, amazing, right? But if you're in there and you're not there mentally, you just leave, because it doesn't matter at that point. If you're mentally not there, you're not gonna get the outcome that you want. Why not put in the work for mental health? I dealt with my internal conflicts, and being able to go through therapy and work on my mental health and becoming a stronger person and self-care and all that good stuff. It showed my last performance. I've grown so much as a person, and I've grown a lot as a fighter. Not putting in the work, whatever it may be, whatever your hobby is, you're not fighting like hell with it, you're not gonna get anywhere with it.
We've been through a lot of things that really it's just no, I need to get this anger and this aggression out, but it's not their fault, so that's why we get to hug our opponent at the end. My whole world revolves around fighting. very passionate about my practice. I'm very passionate about my career, because like I know that as much anger and pent up aggression I can have to somebody, and I can hurt somebody, but I can also make people's quality of life way better.
In the cage, you know, I like to think of myself as, you know, like violent and relentless. It's all about balance, you know, consistency, discipline, and self-love. I hated the way I looked. I hated the way people thought of me. I hated what I was doing with work. I just hated everything about myself, man. And so just coming from that, and then like realizing that I'm special in a way that like the people I'm thinking about and dreaming about, wishing I was, all these video girls and these Instagram models and stuff like that, like I can do things, like my body can do things that they can't. They can never even dream of.
And I've seen so many talented fighters and other types of athletes just get into their sport, and they can do something once and they get it. They're so quick, they're so strong. Whereas you have those kids that are like so mentally tough, and they put in the work, and because they've had to put in so much work and get, you know, surpass so many obstacles to get there, I feel like mentally they're just so much stronger. You can be up, work your way here, fall down, and then it's just like you can work your way back up. Like there's nothing stopping you outside of like yourself. Like I said, when you fall, you can always get back up. Fighting, and then it's all about learning to control your emotions, and like getting hit or being like upset, and like not just being emotional and coming forward. It's like having to be strategic, having to be patient.
Kind of learning like now to not be in a rush to always get to the next place, but enjoy the process. Don't just say you're a fighter, say you're a mixed martial artist. You're still growing, you're learning. Learn to have fun with it, enjoy the process and grow, and everything else is gonna come when it's time. Where you are at this moment is in a sense where you're meant to be during the years that I couldn't get a fight, to just enjoy the process. And if it's meant for me to fight, I'm gonna get a fight. If it's meant for me to go pro, I'm gonna go pro. If it's meant, whatever opportunity is meant for me, it's not gonna miss me. It is gonna be there. You see different stories about like different fighters. They had like 40 cents or however much in their account, and they needed to win that fight to have money and stuff. So even at that high level, a lot of them are still struggling.
I can only imagine like the amount of stress that this person is under, or pressure that they have going into this fight, you know, because it's their livelihood.
Once I, you know, was able to kind of talk and like, hey, I can really do something with this, you know, I can actually turn my hobby into a career. I was given that opportunity, and I was like, hey, let's try to just go for it, you know, put all into it, see what happens. And we'll go from there. Being able to train, and basically I say this is like my school. I go to class all day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I have my homework I got to do on the weekends and, you know, off time and this and that. And I absolutely love it. You know, I love being a student of my craft. And so I love just expanding, and every day I get to show up to just get better. I do like my prep, and once I'm done with the fight, I like to enjoy my time off. I think it was really once I went pro and a couple fights into my pro career where I was like, no, this is my full-time job. So I do need to be ready 100% of the time, 365 days out of the year. You know, once you get that call, that's it. You need to be ready to go. You know, that's not like, oh, can I get like 2 weeks, you know, or something. It's like, no, you get the call and you say yes, and you got to be ready. I keep getting these things thrown at me, and I think the world is expecting me to just be done with it, you know, and okay, go ahead and go have babies or be a mom, or, you know, that, right? What most expect us women to do. And I keep proving them wrong.
There's like not a greater asset of character than the ability to work hard at something. Not just physically, but it's like we were just talking about how when you lose in MMA, you have to be able to like look at that loss and be like, what did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? Why did it cause this loss? That's a difficult thing to do. It's a hard thing to do. That's more hard work. A lot of people won't do that. They can be physical specimens and work hard in the gym all day, but they won't work hard when it comes to like assessing where they need to be better. I think breathwork is like, it's the next frontier in performance for sure. It's a worthwhile pursuit, I think, for anybody. It's another tool to help people manage stress, to help them like get through regular life. But then when you're in high pressure situations like competition, breath work is like unmatched in its ability to control your mind and help your focus. 90% of fights end up on the ground. I thought about that for a second. I was like, oh my God, she's fucking right. Like every street fight I've ever seen, every YouTube fight I've ever seen, like all these fools wing a couple punches, they miss, they fall on the ground, and then they're like rolling on the ground. I'm like, would it be sweet to know what to do down there?
We're going to gain experience in life by actually going through life every day. If we picked up our piece and just went straight to go and missed all the steps in between, we unfortunately do not get to collect all of those fun. Think about it. It's round one. You don't know your opponent. This is the first time that you're actually in the cage with them. You're gonna have to feel them out. But sometimes we do have those fighters who are like, forget the filling out part and just go for it. However, me personally, I'm a little bit more calculated. I like to spend a little bit of time to get to know who it is that is before me. I didn't imagine that I would go on such an inner journey by competing. I definitely started to learn a lot about myself. Because I was tested and challenged in ways that I had never been tested and challenged in any other sport. I'm always waiting for this first initiation, the first contact. It's like, I know I'm gonna get hit. I'm always just ready for that. She was throwing a lot of loopy overhands. When I first went out there to fill out the cage, I literally just stood right on the edge and I imagined her back on the cage because I was determined to that's exactly where I wanted to keep her. I wanted to keep her right there on the cage.
Visualization is huge to me. Picturing how you're going to win, picturing what you're going to do, it's a big plus in the fight game.
Was that you who said like I ragdolled her down to the ground? I tried to get on her back, and I felt like from an adjustment period of remembering making a poor decision in a fight before, I remember okay, I don't really have security on this, so I'm going to abandon this and be able to continue to go with it instead of wanting to force something right then and there. And so that was definitely one of those moments right there.
That's a testament to your fight IQ. You did everything that we had talked about before. You did what you're exceptionally good at, and it obviously worked really well.
Awareness was just so high in this fight. You can just see from you creating distance to make sure that you could fire back, seeing what was coming with everything you and coach went over and that we even talked about. You could tell you just really put it together in this fight. For me, I saw a lot of improvements and you being confident in your striking.
You can be a positive person and you can want the best types of things, but life can still happen to you. You don't have to necessarily make the mistakes. Life can happen to you. Your sufferings are for you. These things don't happen to you, they're for you. I think that the fight game is really always against yourself. To me, it's about getting in there and doing hard things by choice, so that when things that are hard that happen to you in life, you are calm and a warrior mindset. You can be on the internet and watch endless things about technique and styles of fighting and people that you love, but really sometimes what it comes a bit down to is the simple things, the basics, right? Footwork, your jab, you're doing something over and over again, repetition, and then your mental headspace. So how much do you know yourself?
It's full circle here. We had our first episode of this podcast with you, and so we kind of get to bring it full circle and recap your fight, and I'm super excited about that.
It's definitely a full circle moment of the work that I've put in, both mentally and physically, and just being able to want something so badly and have it become reality. That's the biggest thing ever.
The shot was fine. We won that round. I just felt that our biggest opportunity or advantage was going to be with striking, particularly boxing. So I just told her, I need to box more, let your hands go, stay outside the foot, and let's crack. And
I definitely wanted to take the center of the cage. That's where I feel that's where the fight first happens. Who's going to be in the middle? Who's going to submit to the person in the middle? So I knew I wanted that.
She finished the round in top position. That was 2.5 minutes. So good striking, fought a takedown, and secured top position. So good first round, and I think it was good for her jitters a bit to get them out, for her to start feeling a bit centered, and feel like herself in the fight.